You're surrounded by success stories, and that's exactly why you're being misled. No matter where Sophia looks, she sees rock stars. They're on TV, on magazine covers, in concert lineups, and all over fan communities online. Their music is everywhere, playing in malls, in her playlists, in the gym. They seem impossible to avoid. There are so many of them, and they're all successful. That constant exposure creates a dangerous illusion. Success starts to feel common. Inspired by the stories of countless guitar heroes, Sophia decides to start her own band. But the real question isn't whether she has passion, it's what are her actual chances of making it? The honest answer? Just slightly above zero. Most people like Sophia will never make it to the big stage. Instead, they end up in an invisible graveyard of failed musicians, a place that holds tens of thousands more people than the spotlight ever will. But no one talks about them. The media doesn't tell their stories. The public never sees them. And because of that, our perception of reality becomes deeply distorted. In everyday life, we are constantly guided by what we can see. Success is amplified. Failure is hidden. As a result, we systematically overestimate our chances of succeeding. Like Sophia, we fall for an illusion. We believe the path is wide open, when in reality, it's incredibly narrow. This is what's known as survivorship bias. And it doesn't just happen in music. Behind every best-selling author are hundreds whose books never sell. Behind them are hundreds more who couldn't even find a publisher. And beyond that are countless unfinished manuscripts collecting dust in drawers, along with people who only ever dreamed of writing a book someday. Yet we only hear about the winners. From that tiny visible sample, we draw conclusions about the whole system, and that's where we go wrong. The media isn't wrong for focusing on success. That's its nature. The problem is that we make decisions based on incomplete data. If you want to escape this bias, you have to actively look for what's missing: the failures, the abandoned projects, the paths that went nowhere. This bias becomes even more dangerous when money and risk are involved. Imagine a friend invites you to invest in their startup. You start thinking, what if this is the next Google? Maybe you'll get lucky. But reality follows a much harsher distribution. Most startups never truly get off the ground. Many that do will fail within the first few years. And even among the survivors, most never grow beyond a small team. The success stories you hear about are just the tip of the iceberg. Even financial indicators like the Dow Jones only track companies that survived. Failed businesses, the majority, are completely excluded. So if you rely on that data to understand the economy, you're only seeing a filtered version of reality. It gets even trickier when you become one of the winners. You'll look back and try to explain your success, discipline, strategy, mindset. You'll notice similarities between you and other successful people and label them as success factors. But what you don't see is that many unsuccessful people had those exact same traits. They just didn't get the same outcome. Even in science, where objectivity is supposed to dominate, the same pattern appears. If enough studies are conducted, some will produce statistically significant results purely by chance. Those surprising findings get attention and spread quickly, while the correct but unremarkable results are ignored. Over time, this creates a distorted version of truth. At its core, survivorship bias is simple, but dangerous. We build our understanding based on what survived and ignore everything that didn't. The only way to counter it is to deliberately look at failure, to study the projects that didn't work, the investments that collapsed, the careers that never took off. It's not a pleasant exercise, but it's one of the few things that can bring your perception back to reality.